Welcome back to the county seat. We are discussing the canal project that is taking place up in the northern part of the state. That's the species in general. We are going to talk about the genus of canals, repairs, the costs, how you fund them. That's all a part of our topic today on the county seat. Joining us today is Bob Fotheringham, who is the water manager for Cache County, and Bronson Smart, who is with the Natural Resources Conservation Service, and you are an engineer. Is that correct?
Yes. That's right.
Thank you for joining us today. This should be a pretty good topic, particularly if you live in Cache County. This is a big topic, I understand.
It's a big issue right now.
Let's talk about the process that you're going through in determining how the canal is going to be repaired and you know, what has to go into it. Because this sounds like some kind of transportation plan, because I keep hearing buzzwords like environmental assessments, environmental impact statements, and then a couple of new phrases I haven't heard. So let's do a quick glossary, okay? You started with an environmental assessment, and then what?
Well, because of public input and the issues that seem to be associated with the restoration of water back through the canal system, the NEPA process moved to an environmental impact statement so that all of those issues could be addressed for the people in Cache County.
And then from there, what happened?
Well, we really wanted to choose the best alternative, so we identified 3 alternatives. And the county, of course, first requested the funds from the Natural Resources Conservation Service. And then we moved forward with addressing those alternatives and studying each of those with scientists and engineers to figure out which was the most beneficial alternative and which had the least cost and the least environmental damage.
As you guys went through the scoping on this project, were any surprises?
Yeah, there were some big surprises. Hundreds of people showed up to our public meetings and were very interested in the project, and that really made us excited about the future outcome of what this is, and that just speaks to how important water here is here in the state of Utah.
Well, I mean, a lot of people probably don't understand, you know, your first thought is, oh yeah, that canal, it's irrigating somebody's orchard or their farmland, but they're a little bit more integral in the water delivery system.
Well, yeah, this is really a community issue because this water is a very substantial water right with an early priority. It's an 1860 priority. The water is used by exchange with Logan City. Hyde Park uses this water for exchange, and so does Smithfield. So the water is not only used for irrigation in the northeast quadrant of the valley, it's also used for municipal supply by exchange. And so it's very important to the community of Cache Valley, and that's why Cache County opted to be a sponsor, also because of the geographic area that it's in. It takes in more than just those municipalities. It takes in a portion of the county up in the Forest Service area. So that's why the county had to get involved to become the sponsor.
So when you get all these people, obviously one of the biggest things when you, and you kind of alluded to it before this segment, you said we've got, you know, we've got storm issues, we've got municipal issues, we've got irrigation issues. So it's not just the canal company's problem, as you've alluded to, but then that means you got to pay for it. It's going to be fairly expensive to fix this thing. So how do you fund it?
Yeah, with a $25 million bill, it's tough to come up with, you know, an agreement to
Pocket change.
Yeah, pocket change.
One or two ranchers will have that all by themselves up there, right?
So the federal government did kick in $19.35 million.
That's what?
Which is 75% of the project costs. And then the rest of the project costs are left up to the local entities, which hopefully are the cities and the canal companies, truthfully the beneficiaries of what the project is.
So how do you come up with that ratio?
Well, the way that the irrigation company chose to come up with that 25% was to go to the Board of Water Resources here in Utah and request a loan. And so the Board of Water Resources has authorized, I'm not sure exactly their terminology, but they told the irrigation company that they would help in this project. And so now you have to go back to the communities and to the canal companies and say, okay, who should pay which portion based on how much that canal is used for stormwater, how much it's used for exchange, how much it's used for irrigation. So they're trying to come up with a cost share split on the 25% cost share, and that's been a topic of much debated discussion between the municipalities, managers, and has been brought to the councils also so that they could understand how the split was going to be proposed.
Is that a hard formula to come up with?
Well, it was a formula that we had some estimates The county came up with some estimates of what the split ought to be, and the communities came together, and I think it was Logan City that went out and actually hired an engineering group to come in and look at the stormwater benefit for the communities. And so right now the split is pretty much based on stormwater benefit. Benefits the communities will actually receive, and plus the restoration of the water into the canal system. So Canals looking at paying at 60%, the communities are looking at paying 40% of that 25% match.
All right, well, that makes sense. Where do you go forward from here in this process with this particular project?
Where we've got to right now is the Natural Resources Conservation Service has reached a decision. We've reached a decision on the way to move forward with the alternative that was selected. So the way we move forward from here is through the county, and the county will now meet and reach this agreement to fund the project fully, and then they'll move forward in hiring an engineer to actually develop the plans and specifications and a contractor to build the project.
If you had to sum this up in a one-sentence summary for each of the alternatives, how would you do it?
Well, the chosen alternative was to restore the water delivery to all the water users that were affected. And those water users include Utah State University, the Logan City, the schools up in the valley, and so it's critical to them that they keep this water right to be able to have the water service there for the communities to use.
Okay. What were some of the other alternatives?
Some of the other alternatives took a longer route, but went through mostly agricultural areas. This alternative will go through some residential areas, and so we wanted to try to look at avoiding going down people's streets and tearing up sewers systems to install the project.
So previously, before the landslide and the breach, we had an open surface canal, and we're going to go into a culvert route this time. Is that how it's going to work?
And we're changing the route completely and staying out of the landslide area. As you know, it's nearly impossible to hold something in a landslide area, and so we studied that alternative to keep it in its previous location, but it just was not feasible.
Well, it sounds like we covered it.
Well, the alternative that was selected it's interesting because the alternative meets what they did on a temporary basis. Initially, the canal company looked at trying to fix the breach on the hillside, and it was not possible. And so they moved the water up through a temporary change application through the state engineer's office, the Logan Hyde Park Smithfield Canal, and they've been taking their water through that canal system through a temporary diversion down through what they call Lundstrom Park. And so the permanent solution is comparable to the temporary fix, but will be more permanent in restoring the water back.
So what you're saying is the emergency planners that had to do something quick were thinking the right way.
They really scoped out the best alternative in the beginning, and it took a study and lots of public input to reach that decision. But the advantage to that is that most of the public now is on board with what the project is and what it will encompass.
Well, we will talk about, when we come back, we'll have to take a quick break, and when we come back we will address a little bit more on the issue. We will discuss what all communities need to know about the available funds to repair and restore things like this should a canal breach happen in your community, because Cache County is not the only one that might happen in. We'll be back with the County Seat in just a minute.
Take a look, take a glimpse, take a peek. You'll be surprised by what you find. Check us out at DesertPComplex.com. Our phone number is 435-843-4020. Adventure, beauty, excitement. Tooele County Parks and Recreation, bringing communities together.
What is play? Is it culture? Is it adventure? Is it...
Ooh, it's a destination.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's correct.
Cedar City and Bryan Head Resort in the heart of Iron County, where outdoor excitement, culture, and the iron industry melts together. Come and forge a new adventure where play is the thing. You haven't forgotten how to play. It's just that you haven't been to the right place yet.
Fall in love with fall. Logan, Utah.
It's time you got off the beaten path. It's time you discovered something new. It's time you explored Kane County, Utah. Thousands of miles of trails, shorelines that go on forever, a horizon that compels you forward. Spend some time in Kane County and visit the past, present, and future. Kane County, Utah. It'll be time well spent.